Good morning, everybody. I hope today is finding you well. You might notice that today's question is it's not whimsical, but it's different. And I want to let you know I really enjoy these questions. I really am a firm believer that the only silly or stupid question is the one we never ask. I take all questions seriously, and if you have a question, I will do my best to answer it from a biblical point of view. Wherever you're at today, much of the country is experiencing extreme cold. I pray that you are warm, and I pray that you're safe. Don't take any unnecessary risks in going out in the cold if you don't have to. If you do, bundle up and protect yourself accordingly. I've heard of a lot of people with sprains and broken bones and things like that from slips and falls. So do be careful. We love you and we're concerned. So on to today's question. Like I said, I don't believe there's any such thing as a stupid question. So with that being said, let's take a look at what was asked. This is from one of our regular contributors, and again, I think it's a great question. It says, here's a more strange thought than a question. The Bible always talks about God's right hand, and back in the day, being left-handed was a very bad thing, as in being touched by the devil. That's why you never hear of left-handed knights, because there were none. Or more accurately, they were not allowed to exist. But being left-handed and learning all this when I was a kid got me thinking I was cursed by God. So I looked at the Bible for anything related to being left-handed and found nothing at all. That tells me God doesn't care about me being left, right, or even no-handed at all. I like that. If he did, that would be discrimination, and he only discriminates between evil and good people, but loves them all equally. Yet, I still feel left out for some reason. Any thoughts? So there's a couple things that come to mind in this, and I think this is a great question. Make sure if you have a question, ask, and again, I'll do my best to answer from a biblical standpoint. It actually speaks of an entire tribe of left-handed people. We're going to begin in the book of Judges, and you're going to see this kind of has connotations in the New Testament. You might recall that in the book of Judges, the people kept rebelling against God, so God would send a nation to come in and punish them. Well, one of the judges, his name was Ehud. And Ehud basically was sent to be a judge for Israel. The king of the Ammonites, his name was Eglon, and he was oppressing the people of Israel. He was extremely fat. And Ehud went before King Eglon in his personal chambers upstairs, closed all the doors, said, I have a message for you. And when the king was waiting for it, being that he was a left hand, they only checked for the right hand weapon. He went in, drew left-handedly, and buried his sword within the king, so that this great fat king Eglon, the fat enclosed around the sword and buried. People didn't know what happened, but Eglon was judged and died, and Ehud, the left-hander, judged Israel. He judged, and the land had peace for 80 years. So there's a left-hander that has a positive spin. He was used by God to oppose the people who were judging Israel. Next is also in the book of Judges. We go to Judges chapter 20. And this, there was a war against Benjamin, and the Benjamites were very skilled at using the sling. They were left-handed, and they had 700 Benjamites. They used it with deadly accuracy, according to Judges 20:16. Now, we fast forward to the time of the kings. 1 Chronicles 12:12. Let's take a look at this. This was men who came to King David in Hebron. And Hebron, if you know your biblical history, was the city of the priests. It was the city of Aaron's sons. And so, listen to this. In Hebrews chapter 12, 1 Chronicles chapter 12, the following were the men who came to David at Ziklag while he was still banned from the presence of Saul, the son of Kish. They were among the warriors who helped him in battle. They were archers who could use either their right or their left hand, both to sling stones and shoot arrows with the bow. Listen to this. They were Saul's relatives from Benjamin. So if you look, the tribe of Benjamin seems to be left left-handed. Now, the irony of it all, and I think it's God's great sense of humor, is that the name Benjamin means son of my right hand. So these left-handers came from the tribe called son of my right hand. God has a great sense of humor, but God used them all in mighty ways. It doesn't matter what you were born with, whether you're left-handed, right-handed, if you're disabled, if you have all sorts of things. God placed you in this earth should you choose to accept the mission to give him glory. The man who was born crippled and got up and began to dance that Jesus healed. Jesus, it was neither his mother who sinned or his father who sinned or he who sinned, but he was born this way that he might receive glory. Now, we're moving on to the New Testament things, so let's begin with Jesus. You know, the right hand of God is a position of power. It usually indicates a firstborn son. Okay, the firstborn son was called the right hand of the Father. It meant that he moved with the authority of his Father. So when Jesus died and was glorified, he sat down at his Father's right hand. But if we go into the Gospels, the mother of James and John approached Jesus. They said, "Can you seat each of my sons at your right and left hand?" So the left hand position was maybe not as glorified as the right, but still a position of honor. So don't feel because you're left-handed you're excluded from the kingdom. Now, going a little further past Jesus, someone who was called to serve Christ in a mighty way, in a big capacity, was of the tribe of Benjamin. And even though the Bible doesn't specifically state it, left-handedness is a trait that is dominant within the tribe of Benjamin. So I wonder if Saul, who was later named Paul, born of the tribe of Benjamin, might have also been a left-hander. We won't know this side of heaven. It's a question we can ask him when we get there. But here's the thing I want you to know, is that no matter where you are, no matter what you're born into, no matter where you come from, if you submit yourself to God, he can use you. Even if you don't submit yourself to God, he will use you one way or the other, and he will be glorified through you one way or the other. But if we bow down and use our gifts and our talents and even our quirks, whether right or left-handed or something else, God loves us and God will use us for his purposes. I'm going to leave you on this one. Romans 8:28 says that we know that God uses all things for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purposes. So even if you feel awkward or left out, just like the author of this question does, God can use that for his glory, but it has to be submitted to his will in his way. That's where God receives his glory, is in spite of our faults, in spite of our proclivity to sin, in spite of the things we do, God will use that for his glory and his honor, and that's what we can hope for. So whether you're a left-hander like these mighty men mentioned of the tribe of Benjamin, or whether you're maybe you're disabled or a man or a woman or whatever you come from, wherever the Lord may call you from, he's going to use you for his honor and his glory, but just submit to him. I hope that helps. This was more of a fun question. I love that it was, I don't want to say it wasn't a serious question because I think it was. But I love that it wasn't necessarily due to deep theological concern. Ask questions. If you ask, we'll get answers. And if I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know. But I'll try and point in a direction that we can. Ask. Just feel free to ask. Keep asking. Jesus says, ask, and it'll be answered. Seek and you'll find. Knock and the door will be open. Keep asking, keep seeking, and keep knocking. I love you. I'm praying for you. God bless you.